think it'll be interesting to see where, because I think you need 400 million.
Are we ready to start?
I think
Let me
Yes,
know.
we are. Gloria, this is
Thank
Don.
you.
It's just you and us, you and me today. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Well, welcome
Okay, so I'll call the
everyone
meeting
to
to
the,
order. Who's the chair of this meeting? She is. You're the chair.
we're done,
Go ahead.
they're done, well, you're the vice chair, so, let me just welcome the group. Welcome to the Metropolitan Water District Representative Caucus and Special Meeting of the Board of Directors for the West Basin Municipal Water District for October 8th, 2025. It is 12:34 and calling the meeting to order. Do we have a quorum? Mr. General Manager?
Madam President, I'll read through roll call. Director Tommy Favai, Director Desi Alvarez, Director Scott Houston, Director Don Deere,
Here.
and President Gloria Gray.
Here.
Madam President, we do not have a quorum of the Board of Directors. However, we do have two information calendar items today. And so we may proceed with the information.
Okay, thank you. Before I ask for a public comment, could you have everyone introduce themselves who are there? And Director Deere, could we start with you and go around the table, please?
Okay, I'm Director Deere. I'm the one that's here. And I'll pass it on to the general manager.
EJ Caldwell, General Manager, West Basin Municipal Water District.
Desiree Quintero, Manager of Administration and Board Secretary for West Basin.
Eric Owens, Assistant General Manager.
Elise Goldman, Water Efficiency Team Manager with the Metropolitan Water District. Heather Collins, Water Treatment Section Manager, Metropolitan Water District.
Matt Vay, Manager of Water Policy and Resources at West Basin.
And Tammy Murray, Senior Water Policy and Resources Analyst at West Basin.
Chloe Brown, Water Policy Intern at West Basin.
Augustine Hahn, Water Policy and Resource Analyst.
Daryl Ramos Young, Manager Communications, West Basin.
Charles Gale, Metropolitan Water District, the Legislative Services Section.
Amanda Rodriguez, Engineering Supervisor, West Basin.
Jose Flores, Senior Accountant at West Basin.
West Basin with Water Policy and Water Resources.
Isa Vasquez, Deputy Board Secretary with West Basin.
Madam President, that concludes everybody that's here in person.
All right, thank you very much and welcome again, everyone. Now we have public comment. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
Madam President, we have not received any requests for public comment prior to the meeting, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there's any member of the public that would like to make public comment, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. And Madam President, I do not see a request for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Item 4, discussion items. So can you please introduce those items, Mr. General Manager?
Yes, Madam President, we do have two items for us today. The first is a discussion of our turf rebate program for businesses and institutions. This presentation will be provided by Elise Goldman, the Water Efficiency Manager, Metropolitan Water District. I'll hand it off to Elise.
Thank you, EJ. I'm really happy to be here today to talk to you about Metropolitan's focused on public agency turf, but it really does cover both commercial sites and public agency sites. So go ahead and we can advance the slide. So just to give you a little bit of background and overview on our turf replacement program, it is a multi-pronged approach to maximize water conservation, water savings. It incorporates watershed components to retain stormwater on site. And incentives are available, as I said, for commercial and public agencies, but also for residents as well throughout Metropolitan's service area. Next slide. So just cutting right to the chase right now, our turf replacement amounts are relatively probably the highest that they've ever been for commercial and public agency turf. So right now, we are offering $7 a square foot. For commercial properties, the cap on that per application would be 50,000 square feet. And for public agencies, the cap is 200,000 square feet. Now that rebate amount is subject to the availability of grants that we have right now, both from the state of California, Department of Public Works, and United States Bureau of Reclamation through an agreement closely related to our conservation surplus in Lake Mead. So effective now is the $7. Projects must though be completed by September 30th of 2026 because that part of that the grant funding will expire at the end of 2026, but we need to complete projects by September in order to create the billing for that grant. And then it will drop back down to $4, which is going to be a longer term number. Again, based on availability from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, that funding currently is secured through 2031. So we will be at that $4 level for commercial and public agencies, likely at that $4 level for quite some time, subject to availability. Next slide. So part of our turf rebate replacement program, we added a couple of years ago a tree component where we want to encourage the planting of trees as part of turf replacement. So we are encouraging that with a $100 rebate per tree. There's a maximum of 5 trees per project. And each of those trees is going to stand in for the for 3 plants as part of the program. And I'll get to that will come when I talk a little bit more about the program requirements. We do require receipts for the trees. They must, as I said, they must be planted within the project area, and we are shooting for a minimum size of 15 gallons per tree. Next slide. So main thing to convey is that before applying, you want to review all of the program requirements. So we require an upgrade to an efficient irrigation system from an overhead spray. We require 3 plants for every 100 square feet of project area. So as I mentioned with the trees can stand in as 3 plants in that calculation. We require a stormwater feature. So that can either be a rain barrel or a cistern, but it can also be some type of dry river bed, something that is going to take stormwater from the roof of the facility, from other parts of the facility, and keep it on site so that it's not going into the storm drains. And then finally, to assist with that similar process, we require permeable hardscape and a lot of mulch in order to retain more moisture in the landscape. So you're allowed 1 project per meter. So some commercial sites, public agency sites may have multiple meters with their water purveyor. And you can apply for 1 project, including those caps that I mentioned, per meter. You must apply and reserve the funding first. This is very important. Before any project begins, before any turf removal begins, you must get approval before starting the project. And then once you get approval of the project, which can take a couple of weeks, the project must be completed within 180 days of that time that you have project approval. Right, next slide. So some of the eligibility requirements, the customer, which consumer, basically the entity that's on the water bill must submit that application. Now, there may be contractors involved in assisting the site with their project. Contractors can include themselves as an additional contact on the application, so they'll stay informed throughout the application process, but the application itself must be submitted by the applicant. Project areas must have existing grass. So this must be living turf grass. We don't allow dead grass or bare dirt in the program. There have been exceptions in the past during times of critical drought that we have eased up on that requirement. However, we are not in a drought right now, and these are our normal terms and conditions of the program. that the replacement must be of existing living turf grass. Synthetic turf is not eligible through the turf replacement program. And an additional point for public agency sites that Metropolitan has technical assistance that we can provide to help sites, design and phase projects and things of that nature, or how to work within the structure of the rebate program. Next slide. So just off the top here, kind of the process that we ask folks to go through. So you will reserve your rebate first. You may want that technical assistance for public agencies kind of prior to reserving the rebate. And there is a place on the SoCal Water Smart website, which is our regional rebate website, where you can, as a public agency, request that technical assistance. So you're first, though, going to submit an application, and that's going to reserve the funding. All commercial sites and public agency sites are going to be subject to a pre-installation inspection of the site to verify components of the project, including the square footage that's going to be replaced, the stormwater feature, things of that nature. So we'll come out and do a pre-inspection, and then you would receive approval for your project to start. So then within that time frame, then you're going to complete the project within those 180 days, and then you're going to apply for the rebate that you reserved. So at that point, we will come out and do a post-installation inspection just to make sure everything lines up and that all the eligibility requirements have been met. For example, the three plants per 100 square feet, the stormwater feature. And once that inspection has been completed, then you would receive your rebate. Next slide. We also provide free water use surveys. So this is going to provide any commercial site with a visit from a skilled practitioner that will come and assess the water use of your irrigation system through your irrigation system and make recommendations to improve water efficiency. We do also have surveys for residential customers, which include a virtual indoor and outdoor survey, but the in-person survey is available for commercial customers. And typically we're looking for at least like 1 acre of area that is irrigated to participate in this program. There's no cost to customers. And then in addition, we're exploring the addition of a new, what we're calling a non-functional turf survey. And if you haven't already heard the term non-functional turf, I'm going to be talking about that, I believe, on the next slide, next couple of slides. So we can get into that. So you can go ahead and advance to the next slide. So in 2023, the California Assembly passed Bill 1572, which prohibits the use of potable water to irrigate non-functional turf on commercial, industrial, and institutional, which are basically municipal and public sectors properties. So this law bans the use of potable water to irrigate turf grass, which is determined to be non-functional. And you can see there the dates that that legislation will take effect: January 1st of 2027 for public agency sites, and January 1st, 2028 for commercial sites. And you can see in this photograph, and there'll be a few other photographs where you can kind of start to see what is really being called non-functional turf. So next slide, please. So it is defined as grass that is not regularly used for recreational purposes or for civic or community events. So, there is I'll show in a few slides an example of a school, for instance, where there's definitely turf on school sites that would meet the functional definition, where they're used for sports and other recreational purposes for students. But then there are also areas in which that turf is not used for any of those purposes. The next slide. So here's a couple of sites, public property sites. You know, in the one on the top left, that's the City of Simi Valley's kind of welcome corner. They have since removed that turf and done a big, large-scale turf replacement project there. This is basically just for aesthetics, and kind of more of an ornamental value. You can see the picture on the bottom is a long kind of parkway that you know is not being used most likely for anything except aesthetic or ornamental purposes. And then similar to the picture up on in the right-hand corner where you have a large expanse of grass likely to walk to that facility. And so that would be something that could possibly be, most likely be deemed non-functional. Next slide. And then, as I mentioned, on school property, so you're thinking about the areas where people are walking or just walking over the turf, not necessarily using it for lunch or any kind of sporting events. You wouldn't really want people or children, you know, playing on an area like that where there's a parking lot as well. So these are the types of things that are going to be starting to come up for commercial and public agency sites. And what we are encouraging folks to do is to check out the rebates and check out the turf replacement program to get ahead of this regulation. Next slide. And that completes my presentation. I know there were some questions about some other items that we've been discussing with our board as of recently, a potential pilot program with the Department of Public Works to look at enhancing certain stormwater features in specific areas to develop a pilot program to see how those partnerships work. And we are in development of bringing that an information item potentially to our board in November. So I would be happy to come back and discuss that at a later time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elise. Very good presentation. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Director Deere, you're there, so can you see anyone who has any questions, please?
Madam President, I don't see, I do see a question in the back of the room. Mr. Gus Meza.
Yes, thank you, DJ. Hi, Lisa.
I guess.
Quick question. You increased the rebate from $4 to $7. Are you seeing more participation, and does Met have plans to do like more marketing as well?
Great question. When we launched that $7 on September 1st, and we did see quite a bit of an uptick in applications. I haven't yet seen the data for October. We just started October, so it'll be interesting to see how that increase, if it's sustained or if there's, you know, so we're very interested in looking at that. You had a second question, though. And the marketing, we are developing the more comprehensive package to market, to reach the commercial and industrial and public sector. As you can imagine, there are different drivers for that sector, notwithstanding the upcoming compliance with regulations, but just more of a bottom line driver when you're looking at, you know, return on investment. And so we are working internally as well as with organizations like the California Water Efficiency Partnership, CalWEP, who is a statewide organization and is developing toolkits and those types of things, trying to be consistent across the state. And our intention is to leverage that work as much as possible while incorporating that into our more regional messaging. Yes, thanks.
If I could just briefly add to that, because I want to give Charles some credit. Just prior to this meeting, he let me know that he's already contacted all of the chambers of commerce in our service area to let them know about this opportunity. Again, it's a pretty significant rebate. And so to get the word out to our chambers, I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Charles, and thank you for mentioning that. And I would also say that not in the West Basin area, but there are other agencies that are adding even more money on top of that. And so we think that that will probably continue to evolve as well. So.
Are there any other questions in the room? Matt?
Yeah, on the $7, as far as I know, that's the highest I've ever seen in Metropolitan. But I'm curious how you, I guess, got to that number. Was that just the highest that you could do, or is there like something strategic to that number? Like, does it represent like these businesses can do most of the project if they do the work themselves? I'm just kind of curious on the background of that number.
Well, our baseline rebate has typically been $2 per square foot. That's what our board authorized back in 2018, 2019. These we've gotten to such a high number because of the grant funding and other sources of funding that we've been able to kind of cobble together. And so, there's a lot of discussion about like how much, what the, typical square foot to convert for a commercial site. And part of what we're going to be seeing is that $7 enough? Is it higher? We are now going to be, because the amount is so much higher, we're going to be collecting receipts as part of the commercial turf replacement program. So that's going to tell us a lot. And, we're going to be continuously looking at those numbers as they start to come in. Yeah.
Madam President, I do see that Director Desi Alvarez has joined us virtually and has a question.
Hey, welcome, Director Alvarez. Your question, please.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you for the presentation. Couple of questions. One, for the public agencies, you mentioned that the maximum square footage is per meter, so they could have potentially one agency could come in for 400 or 500 or 600,000 square feet of turf replacement.
It is possible if they had 3 meters that had that maximum square footage. It's not likely that all 3 of those meters would, reach the max per application, but it is possible.
Okay, so it is possible. So the 200,000 square feet should not be a limiting factor. Then would you consider it would be not continuous, but discontinuous strips to qualify? And I'm thinking, for example, parkways and medians in cities.
Yeah, so per meter, there might be a situation, I'm not sure if you were asking whether or not if they're distinct meters per median or if it's chained together. I mean, it would be the cap per meter. So if you had multiple meters, those could be submitted under different project applications. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. So it kind of begs another question. What if I do have multiple meters, but I'd like to be able to do a 4 or 5 block area and replace all of the parkway and medians in that area?
Well, right now the policy is, 1 project per meter and that 200,000 square foot cap. One of the things that we could do is take a look at what it is that what that city would like to do and kind of try to understand the site better through the public agency, the technical assistance that we provide. And that would be, something that we could help the city assess.
Okay, so basically it would be, sounds like there'd be some fine tuning in the application process, but I would encourage Matt to consider that because I think this is an excellent opportunity for beautification as well as turf replacement and overall improvements in our local communities. And some of them are really in need of the financial support that this would afford. My last comment / question you made reference to towards the end of your presentation is the Los Angeles Public Works project where they're looking to partner with Metropolitan and maybe a local agency. I would encourage that move forward. I think if you're looking at just using the $7 per square foot, if you're looking at a project area or some kind of an area that encompasses various city blocks, it would be an excellent opportunity to really not only make an investment in drought replacing turf and other high water usage with drought tolerant landscape, but an ability to monitor that over a period of time and really see how that investment looks like and how it performs. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
And then I believe Daryl Ramos Young had a question.
Yes, so you were saying that MWD offers some pre-designed services potentially?
Not necessarily pre-designed, but guidance on, how to find a designer, possibly templates for requests for proposals, things of that nature, helping to guide a public agency in the application process. Not necessarily sitting down to design a project, but to say, oh, do you have potentially a city might have staff or a consultant already on board, and different ways in which to kind of get those things done. But I know that there are agencies like West Basin that offer pre-design that are designed to help funnel people into the turf replacement rebate program.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thanks.
Are there any other questions? Madam President, that concludes the questions for item 4A.
Right, thank you so much, and thank you again, Ali, for coming and making the presentation. And thank you all for the questions. Can you go to item B, please, Mr. General Manager, introduce that item?
Yes, Madam President, item 4B is building public trust in drinking water. And we're very pleased to have Heather Collins, professional engineer, water treatment section manager, Metropolitan Water District, as well as she also serves as the president of the American Water Works Association. So I'll hand it off to Heather.
Thank you, AJ. Really appreciate the opportunity to come and address the caucus today. So thank you, Chair Gray, and other members and staff that are present. The briefing and the informational item that we have for today focuses on how Metropolitan and other water sector entities are working to strengthen public trust in drinking water through a variety of communications. And really, it's really more than a communications effort. It's really about connection, credibility, and long-term confidence. Next slide. Next slide. So today, I'll be covering kind of the public perceptions, the key trust drivers, examples from water associations, community engagement, agencies, and ideas in expanding our reach efforts on building public trust. And intersecting all of this is a principle that we share with our peers, that trust is earned through visibility, consistency, and community-centered service. Next slide, please. So as a barometer for this conversation, recent national survey results highlight that both confidence and opportunities in how the public views their tap water. Most in kind of reference here is a 2024 survey conducted by Morning Consult on behalf of the American Water Works Association that found that 72% of respondents consider their water from their home faucets to be safe, reflecting a strong baseline of trust. Importantly, trust increases when customers receive proactive communication from their utility beyond just the bill. They more have connectivity when they're informed about local water testing or activities or other types of communication from their utility. 70% of the respondents believe that their water utilities effectively contribute to public health. This reinforces the vital role our sector plays in community well-being. So together, these findings really underscore the importance of communication, being that the consistent, early communication, transparency, and connectivity with the customers are really essential to building and strengthening that public trust. Next slide. Offering additional insight on public perceptions on tap, we look at research conducted for Metropolitan in 2023 together with national data, which shows kind of a mixed trust in tap water. 74% of Californians want water quality upgrades directly from their utility. 62% of Southern California residents say their tap water is safe, yet 60% of them still prefer bottled water, mainly from a taste and odor aesthetic. But, we know what to do. We tell them, first put it in the fridge. Does it still taste the same? Has it settled the DO bubbles? So really this gap in confidence and preference is really where our communications can have the most impact. The consideration in building wholesaler brands such as Metropolitan and making regional water provides a more visible and trusted baseline in our own right. And next slide, please. We look to do this with looking at the elements for building public trust through the core trust driver elements. We want to share data, showing the process in transparency. We want to humanize the experience by putting faces to the work that is delivering that utility service. We want to kind of have not repetitive, but repeat messages of consistency across platforms for reinforcement. And the science and the facts that are pairing with the accessible languages that they speak is that credibility builder, and also reaching people through channels that they actually interact with daily is really that modern accessibility point. Next slide, please. But there's change among us. Research from the Pew City Research Center shows that 72% of US adults under 45 are getting most of their information through modern mediums, such as digital video, podcasts, and social media. Now, this is true, even though Wall Street Journal said yesterday that millennials and so forth really preferred going back to the non-smartphone, the CD player, and the Walkman, and all of that. So if you still have those around, there's opportunity for us all. But this really aligns with the broader trends showing that increased reliance on digital sources for news, especially amongst younger demographics, is really kind of a focus for us. And maybe now that TikTok has American influence, there's opportunity for us to maybe get in on that bandwagon, which many of them are getting their news from. So it means that news organizations and us as utilities really need to adapt our strategies to reach the audiences on these contemporary platforms and make sure that we remain accessible and relevant. Next slide, please. The research kind of does show the connection to that they're likely engaging more when we do that medium that they're using. So I want to turn now to some examples of how associations and others are strengthening public trust in TAP. The association that I'm representing, AWWA, has been promoting national strategies to advance public trust. Our Trending in an Instant publication, the one in the upper left there, gives water providers and others in the sector kind of a playbook, if you will, of how to respond quickly and transparently to issues when they arise, such as lead and copper inventory, or things about PFAS, line replacement, line breaks, tap sampling, water rates, affordability, and aiming really to ensure that credibility is not lost in the heart of the moment. When paired with the partnership programs, the ones you see at the bottom of the screen here, the creative outreach campaigns not only can help water agencies manage risk, but it strengthens the everyday public confidence in the value of water. And the regulatory backing of the providers and the collaboration of these partnership programs, Metropolitan participates in, and many of the member agencies in the region, really reinforces that water quality standard, that the results that we are giving them is grounded in science, transparency, and accountability. The top right is a campaign. It's called a No Water, No fill in the blank line of products that we use to touch the greater community for the relational opportunity of how water impacts their daily use and daily life. And it really does help collectively support both routine operations and our times of challenge and change, but it really kind of shows how we can adapt to reach everyone. Next slide. Moving to influencer engagement, this is something that's really kind of growing. It's new. It can help to strengthen and translate technical water issues into authentic, relatable stories. People are seeing people like them out there. And so, but Metropolitan is really working on this through local ambassadors, through art and music, and reaching out to bilingual communities, which build credibility within that community, and through social media and video content, making treatment technology and safety standards kind of more visible. On a national scale, the U.S. Water Alliance has been engaging influencers in its Imagine a Day Without Water campaign, which Metropolitan and AWWA are part of. That occurs on October 16th here, coming up. And this really kind of helps to amplify the influencer's ability to talk about safe water in daily life. There's also AWWA is working with a championship rower, an Olympian, Akil Abdullah, on Source Protection Week. So it's another influencer. So you kind of say, okay, is this the direction we need to go, or where do we need to take this? You have to remember that influencers are most effective when they're used strategically, either to engage new audiences through authentic connection or boost brand visibility toward the end of a mature campaign. This ensures that message of trust in tap water resonates broadly and personably. So it is their brand, but you are giving them the script. They are an employee, so you have to make sure that you insert this at the appropriate time in your campaign. Another example, San Jose Water Company up north uses influencer collaborations amongst its community leaders to reach important communities when it's talking about water quality and conservation, reinforcing trust through authentic community-based connections. And it's an interesting one. They've had some good and bad experiences along the way. Next slide, please. Community trust in TAP is growing when we are present in the spaces that people are at. Partnering with schools, nonprofits, and cultural organizations to teach the value of water is also helping to make infrastructure and people visible through tours, open houses, and interactive exhibits. The Water Alliance now and the River Network strengthens trust in TAP by their building blocks of trust framework. This really emphasizes the transparency amongst the decision-making and shared community engagement. For an example on this, in Aurora, Colorado, they partnered with a utility to host a community water academy where residents learn directly from the utility staff, and then it's sort of a train the trainer amongst the community on water quality, treatment, and local challenges. This became a popular campaign or method through community active academies in source water protection to help make sure that those in the neighborhood had a person to go to understand what that was. And it also really helps by talking about it and building that awareness in the safety of their tap water. Other academies in Longmont, Colorado, and Santa Rosa, California, have provided forums for dialogue, really helping their communities kind of extend the trusted partnership rather than being distant institutions. So those are some good examples there. Next slide. Continuing with the community engagement examples, we turn to the University of Minnesota's Water Resource Center, which serves as a trust convener, connecting academia and government agencies and community-based organizations to advance research solutions that build public confidence in tap water. Through its Trust in Tap Water initiative, the center has brought together scientists, regulators, and utilities to share data transparently and leverage state health fund grants to partner and co-develop community communication strategies that address water quality and source protection. So it's an interesting thing about thinking about how we can leverage the state and other programs here to emulate what is done in Minnesota. Moving to the right side of the slide, the Public Health and Medical Community Initiative is working to build acceptance of recycled water by engaging doctors, nurses, and health professionals as trusted messengers in water safety. West Basin and Orange County, this is very integral to your recycled water programs. By sharing the scientific evidence and addressing health concerns directly and equipping medical leaders and staff with the clear information, it really helps normalize recycled water as a safe and sustainable supply. You may have heard additional information in the community benefits presentation that was given at Metropolitan's board on Pure Water Southern California recently. Next slide, please. Moving to other agency examples, nationwide, agencies are really reframing kind of their messaging in tap water. We talked about really getting out into the community and where people are at and where they're gathering to help deliver this message. From unified public campaigns with local agencies, drought messaging, and conservation branding, the Philadelphia Water Department took its water bar, the top center picture there, and also took it into neighborhoods where there were community centers and had, in addition to like what we do with calendars and water art, they had mural art, sidewalk art that really focused on water. And this blend of music, art, and culture in underserved areas really helped identify them as a cultural identity and really expanded the knowledge base to where they could connect and have affinity towards water. Next slide. Louisville Water branded its iconic Pure Tap campaign as a premium product. So here's a branding example here. This really positions the drinking water utility as part of the city's local pride. They have slogans like "Drink like a local." The utility installed branded filling stations at their airports, community events and schools, and it really gave the agency's residents direct and positive experiences with their tap water. Their outreach really blends the rich historical storytelling and leveraging their area, interactive school programs and partnerships with local news media to raise awareness about water quality and safety. I know we've done a little bit of that with Fritz Coleman, former NBC News anchor here down in the Southland. Louisville has even offered tap water tasting modeled after bourbon tastings, which the region is famous for. So yes, they're not tasting bourbon, they're tasting water, but it's using the same type of experience. So that really reinforces the quality and a sense of local culture. So making their Pure Tap booth a brand and the community experience that they've enacted, Louisville Water really connected here on tradition and everyday life. Next slide. Our Southern California agencies are building confidence by some of their bold audience-focused campaigns. This is just a few selections of the metropolitan member agencies. We certainly have a lot more, but we just chose a few for the purposes of slide illustration here. The San Diego County Water Authority's Water's Here for Life campaign links reliability to daily life moments, emphasizing reliability, conservation, and community connection, reminding the residents that safe tap water is really essential to the region's future. The Las Virgenes Municipal Water District's LV Tap Drink from the Sink campaign connected safety with convenience and humor, local pride and direct messaging to challenge bottled water habits and highlight the safety of tap water. It also was kind of a spearhead approach to introducing and helping them get out in the community and talk about their reuse program as well. Eastern Municipal Water District also utilizes social media proactively, especially in their year of 75 anniversary, to talk about affordability and safety and environmental stewardship for tap water in a very rapidly growing area. So collectively, you can see some examples in just sort of the translatable and relatable storytelling that really helps hopefully build that credibility and cultural applicability to those in the community. Next slide, please. So now we turn to how Metropolitan is building public trust. We're really doing it through a storytelling, through visibility and engagement. We try to go through and highlight our rich history, for which we have brought water to the Southern California region, really talk about the international water quality recognition and infrastructure investments really showcasing our conservation campaigns, our research, and our employee expertise. As a wholesaler, we know that you all and our member agencies and retailers are the ones that touch the customer, but we are trying to help build that story and use it as your potential backbone of things that you can talk about in addition for resilience and reliability for the region. Our gemstone inspection trips, our public meetings and school programs and community events really give those in our service area firsthand connections to the people and the system that deliver the safe and reliable water to the Southland. And then really the showcasing of all this really turns operations into opportunities for education and trust building. We feature a lot of our staff on our social media campaigns and in our print medium as well. We're trying to try a lot of different types of new outreaches like the ASMR and the influencers, and featuring kind of the history, the throwback, to create, the clear and consistent regional trust building narrative. Next slide, please. So where does this all mean? This was an informational item to kind of tee us up for things that we really wanted, our goal for communications to increase our accessibility, relatable, and credibility. And so we're going to look to seek input from our board and our agencies on these trust building topics. We want to consider different ideas that could expand the collaborative engagement with our member agencies. We want to possibly build on Camp for Water engagement with community-based organizations and explore those cross-sector partnerships beyond the water industry. So you think about, everything that's out there that uses water, other sectors aside from water, whether it be ag or tech or different things, really to use that to advance education, increase workforce development and outreach to our sectors, because we have such sustainable careers that everybody can join in on. So also discuss opportunities for potential ambassadors, maybe revisit the Speakers Bureau that was around, 20 years ago, something like that, and really look at regional storytelling to further humanize and make that more accessible. So I believe that's all I have for you. So happy to take any questions. Next slide.
Heather, are you done? Are you finished?
Director Gray, thank you.
Thank you, Heather, for that really thorough presentation. Appreciate it. Do we have any questions, Director Deere or the General Manager?
I just wanted to mention that yesterday in the mail, I got a flyer from my water wholesaler exactly on this topic.
You did?
Yeah.
Great.
I would love to see it. Did you bring it with you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Should have.
The Director Alvarez, did you have any questions?
No, I don't have any right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of anyone there?
There are a couple, if I could call on Jamie in the back.
Yes, just a quick question. Is there any kind of, do you know for any of the kind of case studies that you showed there, if there's any testing happening within some of the buildings? Because my problem with I'm a big proponent of the tap water, but I always am a little bit wary because you never know what's going on within that building's pipes. And so you can tell them that it's safe right outside that connection point. But just I'm wondering if there's a component of that within what you're saying.
Yes, I don't know about the direct, every water system around the US with 50,000 plus has a different approach. Obviously, there's been a lot when you talk about things that we hear about from internal plumbing. And we as water agencies and retailers have the same type of impact when we're talking about what we deliver to the point of the connection versus what happens in the house from when it gets to the tap. So we have that same type of phenomenon that we have to balance and walk through and talk to the customers with. And I think one thing about what we're talking about with all these campaigns is if they know who to talk to, we have the ability then to walk through everything with them. We can talk about how maintenance of premise plumbing and different things on site can have a potential impact to what we deliver and how then it's perceived outside of the tap when it comes to the tap. But if they don't know who to go to and they turn to an influencer to try to get information, things go south pretty quick, right? You would agree? So the whole point here is that you try to build the relationship, to try to build and have them know who to come to and talk to so we can have that dialogue.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I just have a general comment. I'm very impressed with all of the outreach that's being done and the different campaigns. I mean, I was generally aware of it. I did actually see some of the social media stuff when it talks about where our water comes from and stuff like that. But it's pretty impressive to see so many organizations kind of united in this effort. They're all different efforts, but it's pretty impressive to see. And the examples that you have are amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. Provided examples from some other states. I guess, how do you feel California, being at AWWA, how do you feel California does in comparison to other states on this issue in getting out the value and quality of tap water here in California?
That's a loaded question, isn't it now? It's interesting. I think we learn from everyone, right? I think it gets confusing for the customer with so many different water providers that are around in California, whether it's a city, a municipality, a special district, are you a wholesaler? Are you a retailer? There's all these things that they get mixed messages on. Even, within 5 miles, they might have 2-3 different water systems. So again, I think it's important for them to kind of understand that we live in the desert, right? And we have this amazing sustainability from what the different agencies have done to ensure that they have sustainability. And there's resources that they can go to, community and other, to get more information. And I think that's really the key. The ability to, and I'll give you another example, up in Tahoe, has anybody ever been up to Lake Tahoe? Okay, there's California side, there's Nevada side. When you go to markets around that area, they have collectively worked on a regionalized multi-state campaign where their refillable water bottles are branded. They have a branding, and they're available at all the convenience stores, all the drugstores, the grocery stores, the gas stations, all these things. And they have ample refilling stations, and they're really trying to get the message out about protecting the environment from a source water protection standpoint, from an efficiency standpoint, about how to really, be good stewards with the water. And then it's collected, like everyone in that area knows about this campaign. It's recognized because it's branded. So I do think that there's an opportunity where we have so many systems. And yes, they're tiered, whether you want to look at them wholesaler, retailer, member agency, all these things, we're all intertwined. But I think there's a benefit if we somewhat come up with a bigger collective and a collaboration to help everyone understand that we're all water providers. Some of us provide water and wastewater and other services. But to know that and have that as a collective, you think about, we're all planting these trees in these different areas, but we're fostering the same message. And it would be better if we did it collectively rather than individually. But there's respectful boundaries that we also want to make sure that we're not overstepping someone, because who has the reach to the direct customer? It is the member agencies and the retailers. It is not the wholesaler. But if there's things that we could help with to reach down into community-based organizations to build that foundational stone that you all can help then build up from, it hopefully leverages the collective to make everyone's job a little bit easier and not have to reinvent the wheel in 8,000 different water systems in the state. I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Yeah.
Madam President, I believe that concludes the questions on item 4B.
All right, well, thank you very much. Thank you again to Elise Goldman for the first item, and secondly, Heather Collins, for your presentation. Both were very interesting and very thorough. And congratulations, Heather, on being the president of the Water Works Association. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Director Gray.
All right. All right, if nothing else, we'll move on to item 5, Director's comments. Director Deere, Vice President Deere.
Yes, just to inform the board, that this morning at the LA County LAFCO meeting, I was reelected another year as chair of that commission.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. Anything else? Okay, Director Alvarez then?
Only congratulations to Don on getting reelected.
Thank you.
All right. Well, my comments are thank you again to our presenters today and for all who attended and my fellow board members. And congratulations again, Don, for your leadership on that board, the LAFCO board. I know you've been on there for a long time, and I'm sure that they're happy that you're president again. So with that, Mr. General Manager, are there any future agenda items?
No, I think we're ready to go for adjournment.
All right, thank you, staff, too, for your involvement today. All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.